Hey guys, I don't know what you're doing right now, but make sure you subscribe. Now let's get into this video.
Man, bro, so despite getting arrested and, you know, of course, they admitted, you know, who pulled the trigger, basically in self-defense, like, I know you ain't think that you was going to be convicted of all that. Like,
No.
You just...
I never for once thought I would be convicted. I thought I was believing that the system was going to work properly. I'm like, nah, they're going to find out what's going on. They're going to, this, it's going to all come out. You know, I had faith that it will all come out. Boy, was I mistaken. Was I mistaken. I'm like, wow. Like, I didn't know that this kind of stuff happened in real life. I saw this kind of stuff on movies, but I didn't know that it actually happens in real life. And I just remember being in the courtroom, like, when they found me guilty, man, I just dropped my head on the table, man. And I remember just crying. And I cried and cried. I went back to the dorm. And it was a silent cry, just tears was flowing out my eyes. And I remember going back to the jail that night and just crying myself to sleep. And then I hadn't cried no more for about 8 years. It was almost like that night, all of I had became numb almost, you know what I mean? Like because prison teach you to numb your emotions. You have to survive. So for like 8 years later was the first time I cried after that night. But boy, I got it all. I got 8 years worth. Yeah. That night, I got them 8 years worth.
Yeah.
8 years worth of tears.
Right. No.
I soaked them sheets that night. I couldn't believe, man. Like, man, I got found guilty. Right. And I'm like, these people can actually give me up to 40 years. That's what I was thinking. Right. Went to sentencing about 2 weeks later. The judge was like, so what we know about McKinley Phipps is he's gainfully employed. He has no criminal record as a juvenile. And up until this charge, he has none as an adult. He has a 15-month-old son at the time of this sentencing. But obviously, he wasn't thinking about that 15-month-old son when he committed this crime. We're going to give him 30 years.
Despite the evidence.
I'm sitting there like, because the way he started talking at the beginning, I'm like, oh, shit.
It sounded a little good.
Yeah, sounded good.
Right.
Man, that man slammed me with them 30 years. I was like, 30 years. Yeah, I got to escape. First thought.
Yeah. I got to figure out some way to get out of here.
Like, I'm not doing no 30 years in prison. I got to escape. Yeah.
I mean, 30 years still seemed like a stretch for manslaughter though, right?
Yeah, because they had the range, the sentencing range was, they could have given me anything between 0 and 40 years.
Yeah.
So they gave me the high end of it.
Right.
With no criminal record.
No criminal record. And
somebody else confessed.
Somebody else confessed.
They give you 30.
So just imagine if you would have been like a youthful offender or something.
Yeah, they would have sent them.
A youthful?
Yeah. Like
you already had like a record, criminal record.
Oh, yeah. So
sent you for a long ride.
If I wasn't famous. Well, if I was famous. Because I saw there guys in the parish who made off better than me that didn't have. See, the catch was when a quote unquote famous person get in trouble, there's the pressure to uphold the law, to let everybody know that.
Yeah,
the big fish.
Right.
Yeah, we don't play that. We're going to use them to show everybody else. We don't play that here. You know what I mean? So I think that was part of it. Like when they took me to court, I remember going to court in Covington. Me and the officer that took me to court.
Saint Slaminy.
Saint Slaminy. The officer that took me to court, that boy was, me and him had, we knew each other from the jail. So I'm in the back of the police car. He's taking me to court. And I'm like, man, what the hell all this here for? Man, they got the streets blocked off. They got snipers on the roof. I'm dying laughing. I'm in the back of the police car like, man, they serious?
Right.
Like they're trying to make me look like John Gotti. It was all for camera.
Right.
See, that was social media before social media. They was framing the post. So I'm sitting there looking like, what is all this for? He said, it's for you, Mac. I said, man, these people have lost their damn mind, man. But they wanted to make it look good on camera. Like, this guy is this hardened criminal. I'm like,
right,
bro, I got a traffic ticket.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you serious?
Man, so look, when it came time for the jury to decide your fate, they did not like have they had a unanimous decision. You know, like 10 people found you guilty and 2 innocent.
Right.
More than likely, anywhere else, it's a hung jury.
Right.
You get another trial. Right. But in Louisiana, it's different. It's not designed for us to win.
Nah. Well, they admitted it. They actually admitted it a couple years ago. They changed the law, admitting that it was racially charged, that it was done for certain reasons to keep a specific group in a specific position. They admitted this, right? So this is why the law was changed. Now here's the perplexing part of it. You admit this. You admit that this is why the law was changed, yet you don't want this law to affect the people that were hurt by this law. Right. So they didn't retroact it. They made it prospective, meaning from the moment they passed it on forward, it'll benefit everybody else, will benefited, but the people that really were hurt through what you admitted to doing,
That's crazy.
is not helping.
That's crazy.
So I think that is the insane hypocrisy of our criminal justice system. Yeah. It's like you're admitting that, this was messed up. This hurt a lot of people. We're going to change it. But you don't want it to help the people that it has hurt.
You already hurt.
That you already hurt.
That's crazy.
It's like, this is insane.
Yeah.
So, that's where we at with the law, the unanimous jury law.
Yeah. In Louisiana, baby.
So you got sent to Hunt Correctional Facility. You started there?
No. That was the last stop I made.
Where'd you start?
I started when I left the parish. They sent me to Concordia Rivers Detention Center, which is in Concordia Parish. I was there for about 2.5 years. Left there, went to Winfield. I left there and went to Fort Wade. I was at Fort Wade for about 2 weeks. Left Fort Wade, went to Winfield, and was at Winfield for 2.5 years. Winfield, the wildest place I've ever been in my life. They was stabbing each other at Winfield all day, every day.
Yeah.
So, Winfield was like worse than Angola. so I left Winfield and I made it to Hunt. I made it to Hunt in 2006, and that's why I did the rest of my time.
So did you go there with a certain mindset, or like you knew one day you was gonna be able to come home, like you weren't gonna never let this fight go?
Oh well, I went into prison with I as naive as this sounds, my naivety protected me. I thought I was gonna go home every month, and then every year. I thought something was gonna crack in my case. That hope is what kept me going. Because if I would have ever accepted that, man, I'm about to do 21 years in prison, it wouldn't have been good. I'd escape. I would have found, if I would have accepted the finality of doing 21 years in prison when I was 24 years old, they were going to have to shoot me. So every month I thought something was going to happen. Every year I thought something was going to happen. By the time I made it to Hunt, because I wanted to put in for a transfer to get closer to home, because my family was having to travel 5 and 6 hours to go to Winfield to see me. Gotcha. So when I made it to Hunt on the cool, I kind of felt closer to home.
Right.
You know?
Man, bro, so over a decade into your sentence, like Northwestern University, they was heavily, trying to pick up and figure out what was actually going on. They ultimately led up to, the key witness said who pulled the trigger. And they recanted. And of course they was threatened by the police. You know how these people get down. Then they go to make their decision, and then now you got a new sense of hope, But it still took some time.
Yeah, so Medill got on the case, I think around 2013, 12-ish. I can't remember.
Yeah, I believe it was 13.
Somewhere around up in there, and they contacted me, and they were 13. Like, it was ironic. They contacted me. I think it was a school project that they were doing, and they wanted to dive into my case, and so they sent students down there, met with the students. Students interviewed me. They was interviewing my family, interviewing witnesses. And I think they were part of the collective that kind of brought my case to a wider audience.
Yeah.
And because my mom had already been traveling across the country, just basically sharing my story with, doing all that she felt she could do. And that's just sharing my story with anybody who would listen. Yeah. And so they jumped on. They started giving it to a wider audience. Then I eventually met a young man named Dave. Dave worked with the Huffington Post, and the Huffington Post published a story on it, and it started, gaining more and more traction. And I think that once people across the country start being made aware of it, I think the average reaction was like, nah, this is messed up. This got to change. You know what I mean? Because it was so obviously, blatantly wrong. You know what I mean? I think even if I take myself out of it, I think my case, just as a case study for these students, was unique in that everything was done wrong. Like everything that could have went wrong, everything that was done wrong was done. Like, example, paraffin tests are used to determine who fired a weapon. In thousands of cases, millions of cases, maybe all over the country, most people are convicted gunpowder weapon tests. In my case, they got an expert, a so-called expert, to get on the stand and testify that paraffin tests are unreliable, so we don't use them in Louisiana, right? They did this because, they checked my hands and they knew I didn't fire a weapon. But the test came up missing, right? So just to make sure that if I found the test, they're unreliable anyway. We don't use them in Louisiana. Right. So they covered all their tracks, right? When I tell you they dotted every I and crossed every T, my aunt's boyfriend who confessed, after the sheriffs put him out the station for confessing, some months later, he was arrested for being a convicted felon with a firearm. They never even went to go see if that was the firearm, because they never found the weapon that killed the young man. Right. And here, the man who confessed to you that he did this, you don't even go check to see if the gun he was arrested with was the gun. Then when it came time for me to go to trial, they went to my aunt's house and threatened him and told him he better not come to court. You know what I mean? Right. So everything that could have been done wrong, it was done wrong. Literally. Like they basically made sure that they put barriers of protection on top of each other so that what they done wouldn't get exposed.
Sick, bro. I'm gonna go back a little bit because while you was in Hunt, you met my dad.
Yep.
And I can't help but ask you, how did that come about? And what stuck with you from meeting him? Because you still around to this day, so it must have been something real,
I knew your daddy before I met him.
For sure.
If that makes sense. Because your dad was a legend in the prison system. Sure. Everybody knew Bread. You know what I mean? So it was like, man, cornbread here, cornbread, bread. So we like, because he was always known for coaching. Yeah. And so I played sports. And you would hear, man, Bread coaching your boy. And so I'm like, all right. So then I meet Bread. Bread was a real warrior, as you would say. Arrogant,
right, for sure.
But me and him jailed. Like from the day I met Bread, a lot of dudes some dudes were, I guess, intimidated or didn't like that part of his personality.
Right.
I always connected with people like that. Like it never really bothered me because I understand. You know what I mean? So me and Brad we met, we clicked, and where we really got close is mentoring. That's how we really got, because he was a part of a mentorship program that I was a part of too. And we used to have meetings, and our relationship was probably founded the best way a relationship could be founded, because it was founded out of wanting to help, a desire to help these youngsters.
Right.
That's basically what our relationship was forged out of. Because from sports and all of that, I knew him in passing. Like, what up, Brad? You know, everybody knew Brad. You know what I'm saying? But we got to know each other when we were mentoring and trying to help them young dudes. And I remember we was in the thick of it around 2015, 16, when we had a shipment of youngsters came to the prison. And Brad could probably tell you, they were stabbing each other all day long. We don't know, this just came out the clear blue sky. They came from LaSalle or one of these other places. And all of a sudden, with no exaggeration, this was a prison, Hunt was a prison where zero violence, it was predominantly chill.
Right.
These youngsters came and they were having about 15 stabbings per day. Out the clear blue, you know what I mean?
Right,
so we was like, me, Brad, a bunch of us just got together like, yo, we gotta do something.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying?
Stop
So
poking us in a minute.
we gotta do something because they didn't disrupt the peace at this prison.
Right. Yeah.
We got, you know what I'm saying? It's been a shift, a shift. Because now all of the stabbings is these old timers. These old timers not playing with these little boys. These little boys running around here won't fight all day long.
Yeah.
So we basically started a program to basically give therapy. Or we was almost like social workers for them youngsters. Like, bro, what's going on? Every day we went to grabbing a couple under our wings, start being like big brothers. Like, what's going on? Yeah. So that's where I think me and Brad's relationship really got forged. Just doing that work together, serving. Just like that's where we got close.
Yeah, man.
And Brad, one thing about Brad is what you see is what you get.
For sure.
Ain't nothing fake. Ain't nothing fake. He gonna tell you exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, he don't care. You know what I mean? So that's how he roll. And I like that, bro. I like people like that. I like frankness. You know what I mean? I like when people frank.
Yeah. 2016, you filed for clemency. It was denied.
Yeah.
Now you still have your family, and then your wife too. Who,
Yeah.
You know, she comes around a lot, family functions and stuff. And I wonder, like, has that been a good thing for you? Like having someone like that to lean on?
Yeah, so my mom introduced me to my wife in 2014. My wife actually she's a public relations person. So she was facilitating a few interviews, I think with XXL Magazine and NPR and a couple other people that was calling the prison trying to do interviews with me. She was facilitating it, like helping my mother and, you know, doing press releases and stuff because that's what she do. And that's how we met. It wasn't it was just like that. And we just began to talk to each other every day because we were talking about, all right, she's like giving me, normally like now she lets me do interviews by myself, normally. Well, I mean, not normally. When I first come home, she'll be sitting right there looking at me like, like she's like, you know what I mean? So now that's how it started. Our relationship started, just putting together. She was basically coaching me on how to do these interviews or whatnot. And so we just started talking to each other every day, man. And, you know, eventually she said something, I said something, and I'm like, wait, hold up. This is, you know, we sound like there's a little attraction here. You know, we just, and once we decided that, you know, the attraction wasn't going to get in the way of our fight for my freedom, because that was more important to me. And once we established that, she was like, nah, they ain't going to get in the way of that. All right, cool. So we've been rocking ever since. And, you know, that's why most times you see me, I'm going to be with my wife. You know, my partners, you know, I hang with my partners every now and then. We cool. But I know one thing. That woman was ripping and running all over the state, trying to help get paperwork, trying to do this, trying to do that. You know, I'm my way of showing my appreciation to her is I'm with my wife. Yeah, you know what I mean.
So it's hard to kind of get his full story. You know, the justice to definitely, you know, recommend people going out and read more and. You know, obviously the Huffington Post, and I mean, you spoke about some of these people that essentially played a big role and sort of speaking for you and vouching for you and really giving you a platform to sort of express yourself and explain yourself and represent yourself in the right way, which I think that's big time, man. But obviously that took some help with, you mentioned your mom and your wife, doing a lot of running, because obviously in prison, man, I mean, your network and contact is, you can only reach so far.
Right.
So, man, I just really want to give a big shout out to people like that, man, that take time out of their day to make other people's lives, worth fighting for.
Right.
Because I know for a moment that you probably figured, man, you see Lil Wayne on TV and Master P going to do movies and, Romeo growing up, and you could sort of feel like life passing you by, right? And people forgetting about you.
You definitely had that feeling sometimes. And I know for me, I was in the parish and one of my songs was #1 on the countdown on MTV. And dudes and BET, and dudes used to be banging on my cell like, Slim, your song on T. I don't want to hit it.
Right.
I ain't want to hit nothing. I was drove. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, I don't even care.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right, man. I guess, you start seeing things and, you're getting older and you just like, man, will I have a career? You know what I mean? Like, start seeing things, just time pass you by.